This is the ACC tournament.
We began on Tuesday. 14 teams came to Tournament Town, Greensboro, North Carolina. Now there are only 2 left who have just arrived in the Greensboro Coliseum. We are ready for a championship Saturday in prime time. It's the New York Life Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament Championship featuring the 19th ranked team in the country, the North Carolina Tar Heels, and the nation's 11th ranked team, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Hi folks, I'm Mike Hogwood and welcome to Championship Saturday night here in Greensboro. This could be a historic night. Notre Dame has never, ever won a conference championship, not after 18 years in the Big East and not after their short time in the ACC. North Carolina, they've got 17 titles, but tonight they will try to become the first team to win a title after playing 4 straight days. Last night, the semifinals featured 4 teams ranked in the top 20. Carolina upset Virginia in the first semifinal. A win highlighted by the long-range shooting of Justin Jackson and a dramatic last-minute bucket by Marcus Page. Notre Dame's hot start carried the Irish to a win over Duke. Freshman Bonzie Colson led the way with 17 points off the bench. And senior Pat Connaughton ended the Blue Devils' comeback attempt with a clinching jump shot. Here are our brackets setting up for tonight. North Carolina and Notre Dame. Well, he's been with me all week. Corey Alexander is here. And Corey, first of all, how about the surprising last night when the top 2 seeds got beat?
Well, the surprise was, Mike, North Carolina's a team that normally beats you up on the interior, but they were raining 3-pointers, making 7 3-pointers last night to beat Virginia in a team that is difficult to score on, but the Carolina Tar Heels did it from beyond. And on the other side, when you look at what Notre Dame did, normally a team that's raining threes, Bonzie Colson gives them such a huge lift on the interior, and they were able to beat the Blue Devils because of it.
These 2 teams did play in the regular season. They played back in January. It was a great game. Notre Dame did lead most of the way, but Marcus Page led the Tar Heels in a furious comeback to reclaim the lead. And then Notre Dame responded. Zach August put back with 1 minute left, proved the difference as the Irish escaped with a 71-70 victory.
Mike, when you look at the numbers of this game, of course, you think about Marcus Page, 15 points, and Zach August really had his way on the interior. But that game was 2 months ago, and also North Carolina got very cold at the end of that game, really which cost them at the end when Notre Dame had an opportunity to come back and really give them the opportunity to win that one. But when you think about that, Bonzie Colson, who was so big yesterday, Mike, he wasn't even in the rotation. He didn't get to play. I think he'll be a difference maker tonight.
Yeah, these are 2 different teams tonight than the ones that met in January. However, I think the game tonight is going to be just as close. Well, everybody is rolling into the Greensboro Coliseum. In a moment, we'll hear from the gentleman who will call this championship battle tonight. That's coming up next as we count down to tip-off for a championship. So much fun at an ACC tournament. That's right next door to the Coliseum Fan Fest. Those folks warming up before they come in. They're warming up on the court. The North Carolina Tar Heels again playing their 4th game in 4 days. And as we count down to this championship, want to hear now from the guys who in just a few minutes will call the action of this game. Tim Brandt, Mike Cheminsky. Fellas, I know you're as excited as we are up here.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. These are 2 very offensive-minded ball clubs. Both average about 78 points a game, Mike, but they get them in different ways.
Yeah, they're really built differently. Notre Dame, more of a 3-point shooting team. North Carolina works inside the 3-point line and climbs all over the offensive glass.
All right, let's focus in early and often on Pat Connaughton. He's going to be a difference maker. This is a guy that's in the 1,000-point club. He really has great range from long distance. You look at the analytics here, and you can see, well, he loves the top of the key. He loves the right shoulder, but he makes all the threes from all over the court.
Well, he had a terrific game against North Carolina, the win in Chapel Hill, 71-70, and he had 4 threes in that game. A little undersized, but really can spread the floor. Shoots it really well from 3, rebounds it well, but I think he's only had 4 threes in this tournament, Tim, so far in 2 games. He's going to have to replicate that performance in Chapel Hill and have 3+ threes.
This is his 116th consecutive start. He's a time-tested veteran. He's not going to be intimidated by a championship game. Now, on the other side, Bryce Johnson. This is a guy we've talked about a lot in this tournament. Mikey's very smooth. He seems to have really come into his own, playing with a great deal of confidence. You look at his shot analytics. Now, he likes everything down in the paint, but this is a guy who's not just a dunker. He's like the mid-range jumper, also has that nice, sweet jump hook down there with both hands.
Well, I think he's a barometer for this ball club, and if he plays well, they play well. He got a little wake-up call in the Louisville game from Roy Williams and responded extremely well. And he can score in a variety of ways, a jump hook. He got inside against Virginia for the dunk inside and also has a very good mid-range game. He's averaging 17 points a game in the 3 games prior to this in the tournament, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. They're going to have a big night from him.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the guy that's been giving it to him in this tournament. So when you look at the big picture, Mike, what do you think in this game tonight?
Well, I think for Notre Dame, they've got to hit 10+ threes like they did in the win earlier this year. And for North Carolina, they need to really dominate the offensive glass.
This is going to be fun, partner. Let's go back upstairs to Mike and Corey.
All right, guys, look forward to hearing from you and your call of the game in a few minutes. And Corey, I know that you feel those 2 guys, Connaughton and Johnson, are going to be a key in this game.
Well, absolutely, Mike. And when you think about Bryce Johnson, there's a word to describe him that's called potential, and it's a very scary word. But what I think we've seen here since he's been challenged by Roy Williams is he's actually lived up to that potential and become the guy that we all expected for Bryce Johnson to be on this year. And when you look on the other side, the adjective to describe Pat Connaughton is tough. He is tough as nails. And, of course, even though he didn't have a great game yesterday, Mike Bray knew that they could put the ball in his hands, and he came up with the shot that really sealed the deal for them. Of course, at the buzzer went off for the shot clock, game over. Pat Connaughton was the hero once again.
But like G-Man said, he's going to have to hit some threes in this game. Well, as you might expect, Tar Heel fans are here. In a moment, we'll talk to the head man of North Carolina, Roy Williams. That's straight ahead. Well, our Debbie Antonelli had a chance to talk about this game coming up with the head coach of the Tar Heels, Roy Williams.
Coach, they spread the ball around pretty well. They move the ball well. What's your defensive game plan?
Well, we always try to play pressure man-to-man. It's a little harder against Notre Dame than anybody on our schedule. It's really probably the worst matchup we had in any game this season because our 4-man's got to go out to three-point line and guard Connaughton out there, and he puts the ball on the floor pretty well in addition to shooting it from out there. So it's a difficult matchup for us, but we've still got to be able to try to do it. And then hopefully if their size gives them an advantage by spreading us, hopefully our size will give us an advantage on the backboards, and hopefully that'll be more important than the perimeter play.
We know this championship's important to you. For the last 5 years you guys have played for the title. What would be the difference winning it tonight?
Well, it'd feel a heck of a lot better when I leave the Coliseum or leave wherever the game is played. But, you know, the kids have really done a nice job. We've been here, and this is 4 games in 4 days, and everybody's worn out. But golly bum, you've got so much excitement and adrenaline about playing a game. That won't be an issue, but it'll be, if we were to be fortunate enough to win, it'd be a very satisfying moment for us.
Coach, you guys have seen some adversity this year. This has not been an easy season, and especially Coach Smith. Is he on your mind today, and what would it mean for you to win it this year?
You know, it's hard to say because I have thought about it some today, but the adversity that this team has faced with all the injuries, and whether it's Stuart Scott or Ted Seagroves, my best friend in town, or Coach Smith, there's been a lot of adversity, but, you know, adversity sometimes makes you grow stronger, and hopefully we'll be that way today.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, Debbie. And Roy Williams, a Hall of Fame coach, Corey. But this year he's had to deal with a lot of things, and here he has his team ready to play for a title.
He really has, Mike. And, you know, I had the opportunity to sit with Roy Williams days after his best friend had passed away. Of course, they lost Stuart Scott, was so influential to their program, as well as, of course, Dean Smith, the originator of North Carolina basketball. And with all that, the character and integrity of the North Carolina basketball program has been called into question this year. So when you look at all that they've dealt with, an opportunity to be here and be crowned the ACC champions, because the tournament champions are the true champions of the league. To be here right now is honestly seeing this team really kind of bond through all those adversities and hard times and really get to the summit of it all.
You know, a lot of folks from Carolina obviously thinking about Dean Smith, and it has been really a difficult year in many, many ways. In a moment, We will be talking about the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame in a conference championship game for the first time ever. We'll hear from their coach, Mike Bray, as well. All right, right now, let's hear from the head coach of the Fighting Irish, Mike Bray. Here's Debbie.
Coach, Notre Dame has never played for a conference championship. What would it mean to win one?
I think it would be one of the greatest achievements in the history of our program, 108 years. You know, of course, we played as an independent for a long time, so we didn't get a lot of shots at conference championships. But it would be something very special to our program, and to me personally. We've gotten to the semifinals a bunch in that old Big East, but we never got to Saturday night, and here we are on Saturday night, and I love our frame of mind.
Pat Connaughton and Jaron Grant have a special friendship. How has that guided this team this year?
Started in June when Jaron came back. You know, it was going to be those two guys. You know what gave me hope the whole offseason, Debbie, was that I had those two guys coming back. I thought they were two of the 10 or 12 best returning players in the league. They're seniors. They'd won together a lot. I thought they would set a great tone. They've set even a better tone than I could have imagined.
You had a great defensive game plan against Duke. What's your plan for North Carolina?
Well, I think two things that we harped on all day is transition defense. They really get down that floor, so we got to get back. And can we keep them off the offensive boards? We're not going to get every one of them because we're a little smaller, but they just can't pound us there. They got 21 offensive rebounds in Chapel Hill, and we escaped. We give up that number. I don't think we can win tonight.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
The words from Mike Bray, a former assistant at Duke, grew up in ACC country. We're getting closer to tip-off. We'll have more, but first, this word from our local ACC stations. Corey, you've seen these two teams play. You know the coaches. You know the programs. What is the significance to these two teams this game tonight and the possibility of a championship?
Well, Mike, for Notre Dame, it will be their first ever conference championship. When you think about ACC tournament, and on the other side for North Carolina, they played in 4 of the last 5 ACC tournament championships, Mike, with 0 wins. For North Carolina to get back to the top of the summit, it's simply about winning tonight.
Well, we mentioned Notre Dame has never been in a game like this in the conference championship. 4 games in 4 days. You're an athlete. How tough is it?
It's very tough to do, but at this point, Mike, you forget about all that. It's simply about going out there, laying it all on the line, and getting a win for your program.
Well, we're about ready to go, folks. Hang on. It is North Carolina, Notre Dame for the ACC championship. Tim and G-Man on the other side with the call of the first half.
The 62nd annual New York Life ACC Tournament. Greensboro Coliseum has 23,500 seats, and every single one of them has somebody in it. This place is packed for Notre Dame and North Carolina. Come on inside, everybody. Mike Cheminsky, Tim Brandt, glad to have you along for the championship game. Mike, when you look at this, these are two teams, both of them offensive-minded, both average about 78 points a game. They like to go at it.
Yeah, but they're built a little differently, Tim, that Notre Dame really prefers the three-point shot and very proficient there. For North Carolina, they work inside the three-point line, and they really pound the offensive glass.
You say three-point shots, you're talking about Pat Connaughton, and that's the four-man's going to have to jump out on him and stay with him some way.
Yeah, you're going to have to stay connected with him, and he's kind of an X factor with them. Had 4 threes in the game at Chapel Hill, and
so we're just about set here. Johnson, of course, for Carolina is a big-time player. He's come into his own here in the ACC tournament.
No, he really is a barometer, I think, for them, and Roy Williams tries to fire him up for every game.
Let's meet the starting lineup for North Carolina. At forward, a 6'9" sophomore from Charlotte, North Carolina. Number 3, Kennedy Meeks. At guard, a 6'1" junior from Marion, Iowa. Number 5, Marcus Page. At forward, a 6'9" junior from Orangeburg, South Carolina. Number 11, Bryce Johnson. At forward, a 6'6" junior from Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. Number 13, J.P. Tokedo. And at forward, a 6'8" freshman from Tumble, Texas. Number 44, Justin Jackson. The head coach of the Tar Heels is Roy Williams.
baseline drive. Oh, Marshall. Connaughton just keeps on keeping on. August goes in and jams it home. Connaughton step back jumper. Got it! At the shot clock! Buzzer! History is made by Notre Dame. They are going to the ACC championship.
Now the starting lineup for Notre Dame. At guard, a 6'1" sophomore from Mishawaka, Indiana, number 11, Demetrius Jackson. At guard, a 6'5" senior from Bowie, Maryland, number 22, Jaron Grant. At guard, a 6'5" senior from Arlington, Massachusetts, number 24, Pat Connaughton. At forward, a 6'10" junior from Marlborough, Massachusetts, number 30, Zach August. And at guard, a 6'5" sophomore from Medford, New Jersey, number 32, Steve Vasteria. The head coach of the Irish is Mike Bray.
Those were the starting lineups brought to you by Food Lion. Mike, when you look at these two teams as we get closer now, we talked about the three-point shot of Notre Dame. Offensive rebounding a key as well.
Yeah, you look at both of these clubs, and they've got they had issues in that first game. And take a look at the four keys. And for Notre Dame, it's going to be keeping the Tar Heels off the offensive glass. And for North Carolina, first of all, they've got to guard the 10 threes in that first game. For Notre Dame, defensive rebounding, 21 offensive rebounds for 21 points for the Tar Heels.
All right, partner, let's go over to Debbie Antonelli. She's been talking about Justin Jackson.
I know you guys have been talking about the way Notre Dame shoots the three, but maybe North Carolina has found a new weapon in Justin Jackson. He's 6 for 9 in the ACC tournament outside the arc. I watched every one of his three-point makes this season on Synergy. 17 times it's on a skip pass. Does he make a three? 3 times off a screen, 3 times in transition. All of them are catch and shoot. He doesn't put the ball on the ground. That means Notre Dame's going to run at him, try to make him run off the three-point line.
You know, Deb, the thing is that people perceive North Carolina can't shoot the three. They're third in percentage in the conference. They just don't take a lot of them. But in this tournament so far, they've been making enough of them to keep pace with the other team.
Mike, you are so right. Debbie's talking about Justin Jackson. He had a career-high 22 points last night against Virginia and was 8 for 10 from the field. We're set to go. Brian Kersey, Mike Eads, Brian Dorsey, the officials for this championship game, and they are the best in the country. Brian Kersey throws it up, and he'll have to redo that.
Well, it is a huge honor to referee and to be chosen for this assignment. John Clafferty does a great job with the refs all year long, and he graded these 3 out as meriting to be in this game.
Tar Heels have it first. Page gives it back to Meeks. His jumper is short. That'll get Jaron Grant running. He'll take it right at the basket, and he's fouled. This foul will be on Justin Jackson.
And it's to get him in foul trouble early would be a huge lift for Notre Dame. But, Tim, you look at Jaron Grant in this tournament, not shooting the ball well, 6 of 17 from the floor, but he is getting to the free throw line. Perfect 13 of 13.
Makes the first, and the Irish are on the board. He's a 77% free throw shooter. Mike, we talked about this a lot, but Mike Bray says he thinks it's critical. His club gets off to a good start.
Yeah, and it's and you don't want to. You want to defend without fouling this Irish team. They are 73% as a group, which is outstanding.
So the Tar Heels have their second possession, and dribbled out of bounds by Justin Jackson. So the freshman a little bit shaky here early on.
Well, let's just keep an eye on North Carolina over these 40 minutes. This is where the double bye might come into play heavily tonight. This is their 4th game in 4 nights. Notre Dame just their 3rd and 3.
Grant, it'll be Notre Dame basketball. Are those nerves, though, Mike? We're watching a freshman. He's already got 1 foul, 1 turnover. and looks a little shaky.
Well, this is a different deal. I don't care what you say, you know, up the first few rounds, but when you're in an ACC tournament final, there's a different feel in the air.
Good movement by the Irish. August, drop step. Can't get it to go down.
Late double team from Tokoto that time. August had a very good game in Chapel Hill. 18 points.
There's Bryce Johnson, and Bryce Johnson has the Tar Heels on the board. We're tied at 2.
Well, you talked about a fast start for Notre Dame. I think it's good that Bryce Johnson has a fast start. He's been slow to work in the games. Roy Williams has had to fire him up sometime.
He had 9 points against Notre Dame when these two teams met in January. This is Connaughton's first touch. And he's fouled. And the foul is on Bryce Johnson.
Well, this is going to be an interesting matchup to see who can win what. Connaughton playing three-quarter that time. It was a beautiful lob over the top. But on this end, Tim, Connaughton's going to take Bryce Johnson out on the perimeter, shoot the three, or try to drive him.
Vastoria from beyond the arc. The Irish 0 for 1 from the bonus sphere.
Tokoto dinged up in this game, bruised orbital.
Jackson's shot rimmed around and came back out. Both teams getting acclimated. Take a look at our Ruby Tuesday game menu in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Well, the big difference is the turnover margin. I mean, Notre Dame really takes care of the ball. North Carolina can be a little loose with it at times. The assists, very good job by North Carolina.
Nice pass to August.
It's going to be critical. Like I said, he's got confidence against this team, but it's going to be critical for him to stay out of foul trouble.
Loose ball. Jackson. August. Alley-oop too high.
You got to make the easy pass that time, and you have to make a bounce pass. That lob way over his head.
Jackson gets up a little gimpy, but he goes over to August, says, my bad, man. I'm sorry. Bad pass. Joel James comes into the ball game now for North Carolina. He is a big one. Connaughton helps out. And we're tied at 4.
Well, Jackson's got the length against just about anybody who's going to be guarding him for North Carolina to elevate over them and get a jump shot.
Both teams now settling into the ball game. Pace is changing a little bit. Just underway at the Greensboro Coliseum. Jaron Grant. Drop pass to August. Kick it out to Connaughton. Back to Jackson.
Well, I'm really surprised Connaughton passed that up. He had a terrific look first.
Page. Yes, sir.
Well, Corey talked about the plantar fasciitis, and that is really going to show up in the fourth game in 4 nights, and it usually takes him about 4 or 5 minutes to get those feet warmed up, but he's gotten off to a quick start.
Marcus Page, 6'1" junior from Iowa. He drives the train. He is the floor leader. Connaughton with a tough shot, banks it in.
Boy, he has been very aggressive, driving the ball right at Bryce Johnson, trying to get him in some foul trouble.
Toe-to-toe from long range. He rips Cord from way outside, and it's 9-6, North Carolina.
Tim, I don't think the 35-second clock is going to be in jeopardy of going down in this game, and both teams willing to play at pace. Nice catch.
Thank you. I almost shot it.
I would have blocked it.
Thanks, partner. Thought we were teammates. Jaron Grant, they double him. He gets trapped. Jump ball. Possession arrow will belong to the Irish. 15:58 to play in the first half. The ACC championship game. 9-6, Carolina.
Bring your talents. Bring your lofty goals and impossible dreams. Bring the student and the athlete in you to be pushed, be questioned, be tested, to never quit, never cower, and never, ever coast. Bring your desire to turn an acceptance letter into the best move of your life. We are the ACC, and here you bring your A game.
You are watching the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. It's also streaming live now on the ACC.com and on the official ACC mobile app. Come on back inside, everybody. The 2015 New York Life ACC Tournament just underway. Played 4 minutes, Mike, and already we've had 3 ties and a lead change.
Very well played game. North Carolina getting out of the gate quickly, 4 of 6, and they've got the game's only 3.
Knocked out of bounds by Carolina. Tar Heels playing very aggressively on defense. A look at Mike Gray. He's led Notre Dame to 13 wins in the ACC regular season. Great tournament run.
The coaching staff said that in that loss, North Carolina did not play the ball screens very well, and it's going to be a big key for Joel James to get out and help in that.
Long rebound taken by Page. Jump out on Page. Jackson underneath. Hicks couldn't get it. He got close.
Well, that was a beautiful play by Jackson. They really jumped him hard.
Vastoria, left side, too strong. Drops it to Hicks again, and he doesn't miss this time.
Yeah, second up close opportunity in transition, setting a screen for Page would set that play up.
How about the move by Grant? Right down Main Street. He's got 4 points.
That's exactly what North Carolina likes to do, run it up your back after a made basket. Grant, I think, really looking to be aggressive early in this game, going to the rim.
Look at the board power by the Tar Heels. It's Hicks again.
You know, Hicks has been a little quiet in this tournament, but the championship game always seems to have a surprise guy who steps up and plays well.
Grant looked at August on the roll. That closed in a hurry. He feels like he can take James, but they double him. No whistle. Connaughton for 3. Splash!
Yeah, how often do you see that on an offensive rebound? You get the defense a little scrambled, and Connaughton got a great look.
2-point ball game. Jackson, tough shot on the baseline. Jackson comes away with it, and Demetrius Jackson will pull it back out.
Good transition defense by the Tar Heels getting back.
Taken away by Tokito, and they're going to call a foul on Jaron Grant.
Well, here again, you see these little brush screen in transition, frees Isaiah Hicks up. And then down the other end, Jaron Grant has been aggressive right from the start of this game, and Hicks again, the offensive rebound. That was a big part of that game during the regular season, and we talked about Connaughton stepping up, and that's exactly on that shot chart, one of his favorite spots there and at the top of the key.
Better than 40% off that right shoulder. Carolina by 2.
Zone now 2-3 for the Irish. Bonzie Colson into the game, such a big part of yesterday's win.
Bryce Johnson banks it in. He has 4 points.
Second time now they've thrown over the top for Johnson for the catch and score. No real post presence right now for the Irish. They've got an open floor, driving lanes wide open.
Irish try to spread them. Connaughton goes in, now steps back. That's for 2.
Well, I think you'd rather make him a 2-point shooter than a 3-point shooter. He wanted to try to drive Johnson again, but he stayed in front of him.
1 possession game. Meeks banks it in. He battled Colson all the way to the backboard.
Both teams go into their strengths right now, and North Carolina is just pounding the inside. See 10-4 advantage, points in the paint early.
Vastoria from long range. Carolina just dominating the boards. Underneath to Meeks.
There's only a few seconds to get under the 12-minute mark, but Mike Gray sees this game getting out of hand a little bit. They may have to change up their strategy. They've been fronting the post down low, and North Carolina has been very successful throwing over the top. Good job by Meeks giving himself enough room to catch the ball.
Bonzie Colson just got lost. Let's go over to Debbie.
Well, guys, one of the things that Coach Bray talked about before the game was multiple defensive looks for North Carolina to try to disrupt their rhythm. We've seen 2 possessions of zone, and as you said, G-Man, they're throwing over the top. They're 2 for 2 against the 2 possessions of zone. North Carolina is on the offensive end.
And you know, you would think the object of the zone would be to keep the ball out of the paint and compact it a little bit, force them to beat you over the top.
Notre Dame beat North Carolina 71-70 in the regular season. That was back in January. Notre Dame is guard-driven. UNC, as you've already seen, a club led by its forwards with Page the guard.
And the irony of that game was that the winning basket was with a minute left, and it was an offensive rebound by Zach August.
Grant takes it right at the basket.
He has gotten to his right hand whenever he wants to. Six of their last 10 field goals in the paint.
Tokoto looks inside. They close that door. Connaughton takes it away.
Well, they were trying to get it to Meeks. He set a pick and roll up top and rolled into the lane, but a beautiful interception.
Connaughton from way outside. Bottoms.
Well, that's a bad sign for North Carolina.
Connaughton already in double figures, Mike. One-point game. This is Jackson with the steal. And the Irish lead.
You got to watch out for those lazy cross-court passes. Demetrius Jackson just really anticipated that well and shot the gap.
Page got caught in the air. Looks again and fires. Underneath to August. This is for 3. Beecham was too hard. Connaughton gets it back.
Well, North Carolina's perimeter players, you have to understand, with you're going to have long rebounds on those threes. They've got to hang in there. That one just went over all the front court players.
Interesting that they've gone to B.J. Beecham. Notre Dame has another 6'8" player to try to stop the onslaught of the rebounds. Connaughton is fouled.
Second foul on Bryce Johnson.
How about the steal by Jackson? 10:09 to play in the first half. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Notre Dame with a 1-point lead, and Pat Connaughton has gotten off quickly. He has half of their points, and he is perfect from the floor. He's doing it in a number of ways. The nice drive into the lane. He's knocked down a couple of threes, and the mid-range jump shot there. 4 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from behind the arc. He's got a chance to add to it at the line.
It's a 7-0 run by the Irish over the last 147. Since that timeout, they also had the steal. Connaughton makes the first.
And, don't be surprised if you see him on the Orioles pitching staff at some point in time. A 4th-round draft choice there. Played ball this summer in their A-League team.
Up by Aberdeen.
Pitcher can really bring it. He's got the heater in the mid-90s.
Break that thing off the table, too. He's a good one. I'm not sure I'd give up the round ball you can shoot like that.
Well, joining another an ex-Notre Dame football player, and Samardzija is pitching in the majors.
He sure is. Here's Page. Takes it right down to the baseline. Has it blocked. That'll get the Irish running again.
Notre Dame really just kind of playing free and easy right now.
Trying to set up Connaughton. They think he can take Page. He's got a little bit of a side advantage.
Marcus Page, a nice job battling in the post guards. Usually don't like to defend down there.
He got help. Long range by Jaron Grant. Grant with 9 points and 4 assists.
3 of 8, almost half of their field goal attempts in this game have been from behind the arc.
Johnson's shot won't go, but the follow by Meeks is good.
To this holding to form, as we talked about in the keys, both teams kind of playing to their strengths.
Grant kicks it out. This is Vastoria. How about that?
Wide open look. I mean, there wasn't anybody in the same zip code. See the three-point shooting, 4 of 9 to 1 for 3.
You said they needed to make 10 or more. They're off to a good start. Boy, what a great dish. Drive, draw, dish, and there was Johnson. Well, Bryce Johnson off to a great start.
That's what happens when you double team. He was late back in rotation, Barry able to get into the lane, and that's where the defense broke down.
Carolina fans come to their feet. They know defense will be a key against the Irish. Beecham has it taken away. And Page is fouled. That's going to be on Jaron Grant. That's 2. That's 2 on Grant. Oh, that is big. Jaron Grant's got 2. The stage is set for the final act of the 62nd annual New York Life ACC Tournament.
Notre Dame with a 5-point lead, and to balance out the three-point shooting of the Irish, North Carolina needs to balance that with points in the paint, and that's exactly what they've done here in the first half. They've looked to go on the inside. Bryce Johnson's been effective on the interior. 8 of their 12 field goal attempts are inside the paint around the rim. They've got 5 second-chance points to balance what Notre Dame has outside the arc, which they've got 12 points.
Nice putback by Hicks. He's got 6 points already.
They just added to that, and Deb just talked about the way that's how they are built. 65% of their offense comes inside the arc. That's number 1 in the conference.
Well, how about this? Notre Dame 4 for 4 at the line. Carolina yet to score at the line.
Well, that's where Notre Dame has offset them and built a little bit of a lead from the three-point line and the free throw line.
That and the threes. Foul is on Meeks. Grant makes the first. Closed captioning for ACC basketball is brought to you by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's bow time. Notre Dame has also made 4 threes. North Carolina only 1, so that's a 12-3 advantage right there. This is Nate Britt. He's been getting a lot of time in this tournament, and he's played well. Shot clock is down to 10. Into the corner, wide open. And again, the putback by Meeks.
What Notre Dame, even though they're smaller, they've got to block out North Carolina farther away from the basket. They're getting pushed underneath the rim.
Remember, Jaron Grant has 2 personal fouls. Jackson down the lane, kicks it out. This is going to be offensive on Jackson.
Boy, so far, Isaiah Hicks has come in and had an impact on this game on both ends of the floor. 6 points, a couple of rebounds, efficient shooting at 3 of 5, and he takes the charge there.
Both teams playing at a very high level to start this championship game.
Well, the thing where this 4th game is going to catch up with North Carolina, if it does, is going to be in the second half.
Here's Jackson, goes into Meeks. He's had the advantage on August. Drop steps into him, and this time August gets the win.
No double team help either that time, just good one-on-one defense.
And August beat him back down court. Here's Grant. Out to Vestoria. Brent, stop, pop, no good. And another rebound by August.
Mike Bray says, let's put our foot on the brake here a little bit. This has been a really well-paced game up and down the floor, but North Carolina wants that. They lead the conference in tempo and possessions. Notre Dame 9th.
How about the drive by August in the foul? Called out on Meeks. That's his second.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, that time Nate Britt, a little wave at the ball right there. He could have stepped in and taken the charge.
Now, August is not that good of a free throw shooter, 62%.
Thought they were in real trouble last night, Tim, when he fouled out of the game with about 3 minutes to go against Duke. But Bonzie Colson was in good position for as far as fouls were concerned and really did an admirable job against Jahlil Okafor late in that game.
Bonzie Colson had a great game last night, really helped. They exposed Okafor a little bit last night, too, at the foul line.
Well, that's the one chink in the armor, about 57, 55% for him on the year.
That foul's going to be on Vestoria, I believe. Today's coverage of ACC basketball being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network. We welcome the nearly 1 million men and women of the U.S. Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, and Marines stationed around the globe in 175 countries and on the high seas. So proud to have you with us and hope you're enjoying the broadcast.
Well, Tim, Justin Jackson was so good yesterday against Virginia. 22 points, 8 of 10 shooting. A little slow to start in here, some nerves early on, and really got bailed out by Vestoria on that jump shot.
Jackson's a 71% free throw shooter. He only had 6 points against Notre Dame in January. Got half of that now already.
Really improved. He came on really strong at the end of the year. I think he's going to blossom into an elite scorer in next year.
Carolina's reeled him back in. Bonzie Colson, nowhere to go.
Mike Bray playing both of them together so they can have a little bit of presence on the glass.
Shot clock is at 8. Kick it out. That's going to be against Grant, isn't it? That's 3. They call that on Grant. That's 3 on Jaron Grant. He's going to have to go to the bench.
Well, and Mike Bray, the assistant coaches are surrounding him. On the pass, he looked like he was in position and stationary.
That is huge.
Grant's still out on the floor. They couldn't get him out in that possession. He's got to be really careful now.
Justin Jackson throws it away. 5 turnovers now for the Tar Heels.
Well, Mike Bray was incensed after this call. See the emotion and the intensity of an ACC tournament final.
Absolutely. Mike knew coming in that majority of fans here tonight were going to be from Carolina, right down the road. Jackson. Bonzie Colson.
After that quick start, they've gone away from Connaughton. Hadn't heard from him in a while.
1 possession game. Toe-to-toe. That was off Vestoria. 3:50 remaining in the first half. of the championship game in Greensboro. It's a good one. 31-28, Notre Dame. Carolina's the number 5 seed. It's only happened 3 times. The first time the number 5 seed made it to the ACC championship game, 1978. The star of that game, my partner, Mike Jaminski, one of 3 Duke Blue Devils with more than 20 points. Duke won that game 86-77 to win its first title in 12 years.
Nice post feed that time. Bryce Johnson coming up big. Good execution out of the timeout. Those were good times, Tim. I tell you, Coach Foster got up to the lectern afterwards and said people said it would snow in Greensboro before he won a championship, and there was a blizzard that day.
Like the song says, I want to be like Mike. Carolina's got numbers, but instead, Tokido brings it back out. Boy, Jackson looked at it, almost pulled the trigger. Page does. Johnson battling 3 Irish. Beecham comes back in. Polson goes out for Notre Dame. James goes out for Notre Dame. And in comes Isaiah Hicks.
Well, the big difference with the number 5 seed in this format is that extra day. That didn't, everybody played the same number of games back then.
Turnover for the Tar Heels. That's turnover number 6. This is big with Jaron Grant, 3 personal fouls. Let's see how long he has to sit.
Mike Gray on his bench, only 21% of the minutes. That's one of the lowest in the country, so their bench is very short. And especially losing one of their leading scorers in this game.
Nice pass to Vestoria. Couldn't hang on. 50-50 ball. Still loose. Irish come away with it. And the foul, I believe, will be on Tokido.
Yep.
Correction. It'll be Marcus Page, his first.
Well, sometimes the ball has a mind of its own, and it looked like it did on this possession, but you got to give credit. Everybody getting on the floor. Notre Dame able to come up with it.
How about Connaughton finding August from the seat of his pants?
North Carolina 16 fouls, Notre Dame 5, so nobody in the penalty yet.
Two and a half minutes to play in the first half. ACC championship game in Greensboro. Connaughton too strong. Page for 3.
Nice fight for that rebound by August. North Carolina now 1 of 7 from 3.
August battling on both ends. Under 2 minutes we go in the first half.
I'm going to be curious to see if in the start of the second half, if they come out and start Jaron Grant and let him play with those 3 fouls.
Vasturia, bucket will count. He'll go to the line for one more.
This has been consistent. That is a great curl around the screen, something they do in practice very well.
Foul was on Isaiah Hicks. Vasturia at the line.
Well, and with Grant out, more shots available for Jackson, Vasturia, the guys on the floor.
He's the best free throw shooter on the Irish team as you look at Jaron Grant. He'll now become a cheerleader. Telling you, Mike, that is one of the prettiest jump hooks. Bryce Johnson did that all day long against Virginia.
I'll tell you what, for a right-hander, that is a very tough shot along the baseline on that right block. Most right-handers like to come into the middle from the other side.
Down to August. Off the rim, but he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Number 21,
There you see, and he's, you know, you got Connaughton. There's that big size advantage, and he's used it well, used his body well. A good post feed right there. But none of the traditional centers that North Carolina has are out on the floor right now, so it's a little bit of a smaller team. August able to work inside on Simmons.
August has been the most improved player on this Notre Dame team this year. Scored 18 points against North Carolina when they played January 5th, and he makes them both. Notre Dame pushes the lead back to 4.
See the three-point line and the free throw line treating Notre Dame very well.
And again, North Carolina comes up empty.
Well, as opposed to a team like Virginia, this lead is nothing right now.
Tokido takes it away. What a great feed to Jackson.
Yeah, if you're Mike Bray, not happy with that. You don't want to give up an easy basket turnover that turns into points at the end of the half to give them some momentum.
Final 30 seconds of the first half. There's a 2-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Just under 2 seconds. Shot clock down to 9. Jackson looks up at it and goes. It's good if it goes. Vastoria for 3 at the shot clock.
What a terrific find by Demetrius Jackson on that drive. He got a little pick and roll up top. Look at all those bodies he has to see through. And a wide open look for Vastoria.
Only the second year in the ACC, the first time in the ACC title, and they leave it to half, 39-34. Coming up on the Hardy's Halftime Report, Mike Hogwood and Corey Alexander will analyze the first half, bring you up to date on tournament scores from around the nation. All that and a whole lot more on the Hardy's Halftime Report. The teams will take a break. Mike and Corey on the other side.
Hardee's presents the Hardee's Halftime Report, introducing the Bacon Velveeta Patty Meltdown. It is all new at Hardee's. 5-point game. Most of this half, it's been a one-possession game, but Notre Dame on top, 39-34. Mike Hogwood here along with Corey Alexander, and both these teams laying everything out on the floor. Typical championship battle.
Absolutely, and Mike, of course, this is extremely important to both of these programs, so when you look at it, they don't have any choice but to leave it all out there on hardwood.
North Carolina, I was really impressed with their inside play. Points in the paint against 24-10. North Carolina looking pretty good.
Well, and that's the strength of North Carolina. They led the ACC in points in the paint, and they got off to a great start early. Bryce Johnson, Isaiah Hicks, Kennedy Meeks, they have so much size up front, and that really is the strength of this North Carolina team, and more importantly, they have an opportunity to get over the top against a much smaller Notre Dame Irish team.
Now, the other side, Notre Dame had 5 3-pointers in the first half. I think that's a big reason they're out in front right now.
And Notre Dame is one of the best offensive teams in the country, very efficient, but they use a 3-pointer as a weapon. So when you see them come out today and shoot the ball extremely well, that is no surprise, especially when you've got a guy like Pat Connaughton, who's able not only shoot it from the 3-point line, but many, many, many feet beyond.
Corey, on the other side, though, North Carolina's not been able to hit the 3. Well, they're just 1 for 8 from behind the arc.
But that's not a surprise either. North Carolina not a great 3-point shooting team, Mike, but their 4th game in 4 days. The first thing to go are your legs, and you know you need your legs to be able to be efficient from the jump shot.
It looks like that may have impacted North Carolina a little bit, but give this Notre Dame team some credit. They are really playing well.
Absolutely, they are, and they're playing their brand of basketball, being able to move it very well. And last year was not a loss because you got a lot of experience for guys like Zach August, Demetrius Jackson, and then Vastoria. When you think about those guys were freshmen last year, they got experience with Jerry Grant out. Now when he went to the bench in the first half with the 3 fouls, those guys stepped up and made big plays.
And these Irish are in a place where Notre Dame basketball has never been, and that's in a championship game with a conference title on the line. Corey and I will have more halftime from the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina in just a moment.
A look back through the window of time, 1957. Lenny Rosenbluth and the Carolina team undefeated that year.
Well, that's so long ago, I wasn't even thought about yet at that point in time. But great team, went undefeated, went on to win the national championship against Will Chamberlain's Kansas team. Great group of guys.
Mike, this game here, Carolina, well, let's say this. Notre Dame has outscored Carolina 10-1 at the free throw line, 15-3 from beyond the arc, and yet it's only a 5-point ball game.
Yeah, and it's, you know, for North Carolina, they've done what they do well. They go inside. They're 24-10 plus on the points in the paint. So it's just, you know, if they can make a couple of more threes and get to the free throw line a little more often in this second half.
Jaron Grant with 3 personal fouls. That's going to be like an anchor at Notre Dame. Let's go across the court to Debbie with the very latest.
Well, I spoke to Coach Bray on the way out. He said, we might have to score 80 points, and he's okay with that. He likes the rhythm of his offense. He believes his guards are going to have to help on the glass a little bit here in the second half. For Roy Williams in North Carolina, every single one of the 3-point baskets that Notre Dame made was off a dribble penetration. They've got to do a better job of protecting inside out, and they've got to get to the free throw line. They have to be on attack mode here in the second half.
All right, Debbie, thank you very much. Should be a terrific second half of play in this 62nd annual championship game. Look at the shot selection, Mike.
Yeah, you see it. It's all the 12 shots or 18 shots in the paint, only 7 mid-range, and then just the opposite for Notre Dame. And, you know, Jaron Grant's in this game, and he's got to be careful, Tim, not only on the defensive side, but on the offensive side as well. That third foul, as Corey was talking about, picked up going into the lane.
Toe-to-toe takes it right at the basket and scores.
August almost picked off his own man in Vastoria.
Makes it a 1-possession game. Mike, I think Jaron Grant only knows one way to play.
That's all well and good, but you got to stay on the floor, too.
I hear you.
See, he's got to pull up and shoot floaters, and Jackson didn't know who that was for. He thought it was another shooter over there. Great, telling those guys to just calm down a little bit.
19 minutes,
they're gonna
25 seconds to play.
They're going to go zone to try to hide Grant a little bit and buy him some time.
Smart play, I think, going to his own. They don't play it that often. Kick it out to Page. He looks from beyond the arc.
Well, you know, he sees his mentor, Mike Krzyzewski, go zone, so he feels like it's like the stamp of approval. Boy, 2 unforced errors early for Notre Dame, and they usually take very good care of the basketball.
Mike Bray doesn't like that. You're going to need every possession, at least getting some shots. That's 9 turnovers now for the Irish.
Nice job by Connaughton.
Carolina gives it right back. This is beyond the arc. And August is fouled by Meeks.
You know, it was ironic in that game in Chapel Hill that Notre Dame only got 6 offensive rebounds, but the last one was by August for a putback with the 1-minute mark that proved to be the winning basket.
Absolutely. Good call. That is 3 personals now on Meeks. Carolina played the last little stretch there without Meeks in the regular season. He had a little illness, did not practice Monday or Tuesday. Did play in the second game and got the start here tonight. Grant fading away, too strong. He is so smooth inside. Bryce Johnson now has 12 points, and he's doing it with ease.
You know, normally on that jump hook, you want to get it closer to the basket, but he is comfortable from about 12 feet on that shot. Same side of the floor down this end.
Carolina crowd lets him know how they like it. Grant takes it at the basket, too strong.
Yeah, upset with himself. That was a very makeable shot.
This is for 3. And August lost it out of bounds.
Are you wearing green today? I mean, that's almost the second ball you've caught.
That pass was a little wide. 1-point game. Irish lead, Tar Heels. This North Carolina team, I think, exceeded expectations at times this year. They had so much adversity. They come in as the #5 seed, ranked 19th in the country. And a win here in a championship in the Atlantic Coast Conference, I think, could move them up a spot or two tomorrow on Selection Sunday.
If they win, if North Carolina wins, could they get up to a 3 seed? They're at a 5 seed right now.
It's going to be interesting to see, too, what they do with the #1 seeds. And I'm talking about Duke and Virginia, who came in here thinking they were #1 seeds.
I think Virginia's off the line. I think Wisconsin, with that win today, moves up and they move off. And Duke has a chance to move off, too, depending on what happens with other tournament finals.
Timeout, North Carolina.
That Wisconsin team is awfully good. Timeout on the floor. We'll take one as well. We'll be back to this one-point game.
What was a 5-point Notre Dame lead at the half has been cut to 1 behind the play of Bryce Johnson. He's been terrific on the inside. He's 6 for 8 on the interior. North Carolina has done an excellent job getting him established early in the first half and to continue through to the second.
All right, Debbie, the first 2 minutes, Notre Dame 0 for 3 on field goals, 2 turnovers, 0 points, and now the 3 ball.
Yeah, they don't have to match Notre Dame for threes, but they have to keep it close, and then that'll really make their points in the paint.
If Marcus Page starts hitting those long-range shots, look out. Carolina's last lead was 19-18. Not the year. Connaughton from long range.
Well, and after a quick start, he has gone silent.
How about that? Johnson again. Timeout, Notre Dame.
Run, and it's a quick start. You see the nice screen inside, gives him a look. Marcus Page getting off to a quick start, and then this is North Carolina basketball. Justin Jackson, the great look ahead and lob.
Wow. (43-39) Tar Heels.
Nice timeout by Mike Bray that time. The crowd, Carolina getting ready to go on one of those extended runs, and he wanted to get things calmed down.
Well, this building is electric tonight. Jackson says, I'll take it up by myself.
Toe-to-toe in full denial. Grant is trying to get the ball out of his hands. He's in a no-help position.
Mike, has Grant gotten more passive?
I say he's almost by definition has had to, but he gets a look here.
Takes it in the paint, and he's fouled.
A silly foul, too, by Bryce Johnson. That's his second personal foul, and he is lobbying to stay in the game over the bench.
So Meeks has 3. Now Johnson has 2 for Carolina. Jackson takes it at the basket. He's fouled. Justin Jackson picks up his second personal. And Roy Williams doesn't like it.
I tell you what, Brian Dorsey, this is his first ACC tournament final. Not wanting to hear anything from the Carolina bench.
Still belongs to the Irish. Roy Williams won this title, the ACC tournament title, in 2007 and 2008. He's been the runner-up 3 of the last 4. Jerry Grant picks up his dribble. Jackson on Meeks. Grant drives at the basket, and he's fouled again. This one is on Jackson, and that's his third. Justin Jackson has been a difference maker in these semifinals and now in the championship, but he's got 3 personals.
Yeah, not shooting the ball as well as he has been.
Closed captioning for ACC basketball is brought to you by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's bow time. Jaron Grant makes his second. First points of the second half for Notre Dame.
Tim, we're at the 16-27 mark, and that's already the 4th personal or 4th team foul for Carolina, so they're only 3 away from putting the Irish on the line for the rest of the game.
Vesturi's been doing a nice job on toe-to-toe. Irish extend their defense. Taking that 3 ball away from Page. Johnson with that hook again.
Beautiful 2-man game. When he was out on the perimeter, that's where Connaughton can really be effective. But he was able to roll into the post. 11-2 run in the last 4.5 minutes.
And Johnson putting that hook right in the heart of the Irish. That's going to be knocked out of bounds by Vastoria. 15-17 left in the championship. Carolina, Notre Dame. 45-41, North Carolina has taken the lead. Haviland gave fans the chance to vote for the All-ACC first and second teams. Take a look at who you, the fans, chose. And Mike, being a legend in this league, how'd they do?
Well, South Bend really got active in the voting. Connaughton and Grant, of course, Okafor, a good choice. So Duke fans were active as well.
This is Page from beyond the arc. Bottoms.
He's hit the last 2 threes he's attempted.
Largest lead of the night for North Carolina.
If they start hitting threes combined with their interior presence, it's going to be awfully difficult for Notre Dame to catch up.
August banks it in, and he's fouled by James. Joel James picks up his first personal.
Of the centers, he's going to have real trouble staying in this game. You got to be connected with that double team. And August, beautiful feed inside, and Joel James was caught in between.
August now 4 for 5 from the line. Brings the lead back to 4. Page drives all the way to the basket, and he's fouled.
Possibility for three-point plays for Marcus Page. They like to run this screen where you come up in the middle, and he just got lost. He gets to that left hand. He is very efficient.
Vastoria picks up his second personal. Page tries to make a 3-point play the old-fashioned way and does.
See, I mean, if you're Vastoria, why even wave at that? If you're not going to take a hard foul and put him on the line, just let him go. Don't make it a 3-point opportunity.
Connaughton has disappeared. Here's August with a jump hook. And the putback by Jackson somehow off the top of the backboard.
Wow, normally you don't like your point guard on the offensive glass, but the fortunate bounce.
Irish sag back into the zone.
Well, Barry, a very capable 3-point shooter, and Page has been on fire in this half.
Here's Barry. Tokido out-jumped everybody.
Well, he can just go up another floor on the elevator from everybody else.
Barry for 2. You like to talk about the danger zone? I think Notre Dame is in it.
Yeah, 7 points. The crowd riled up. And North Carolina's got 2 guards out there who can make shots.
Jaron Grant's basket will not count. He was fouled before the shot. Our edge to the game is brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. Points in the paint, big.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise there at all. 16 of 21 in the paint field goal. Notre Dame only 7 of 14, but they're more of a perimeter-oriented team.
Foul was on Token, though, Mike, so the Irish will bring it in.
For right now, the Irish are not getting crushed on the boards, which is a big statistic for them. But North Carolina shooting at such a high percentage, they haven't had to get many offensive rebounds. They only shot 37% in Chapel Hill.
Connaughton and Vestorio on the bench for Notre Dame. Pass inside. Colson buries it.
Now, does he step up again? He has been quiet in this game. This is his first basket of the ball game.
53-48.
But neither August or Coliseum have a foul in this game, so we might see that combination out there a lot to help offset the rebounding.
Carolina 8 for 11 this half. Make it 9 for 12. Barry again.
He was 3 of 6 from 3 for the tournament and improves on that.
Grant takes it down Main Street and he's fouled hard.
That's the 17th foul, so for the last 12 minutes, the Irish will be at the free throw line.
North Carolina trailed at the half, but they turned the page with Marcus. It's 56-48 Tar Heels. This is the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. Welcome back inside the 2015 New York Life ACC Tournament. Mike, let's take a look at our Haviland defensive shield because the Tar Heels have gotten very defensive and have an 8-point lead.
Well, you know, you look at it, we talk about North Carolina's offense all the time and getting on the glass, but look at the field goal percentage. Irish shooting it well in the first half, but only 3 of 9. And on the game, North Carolina has 12 more field goal attempts than does Notre Dame.
This is a 22-9 run by the Tar Heels, and Jaron Grant missed his first. Makes the second. Every point now becomes critical. We are under the 12-minute mark in the ACC championship game. UNC very active offensively. Barry penetrates, drops it off for Johnson.
I really like this combination of Barry and Page in the backcourt. Not only shooting on the perimeter, but able to make plays inside.
Connaughton is still on the bench. Vestorio is still on the bench. The Irish need points and get it from Beecham.
Wow, big lift off. Those are the first bench points they've had. Now he's a capable shooter, 42% from 3.
Reels him back into 6. That's going to be called a hold. Now, a lot of people are going to say, wait a minute, Johnson's arm extended. But the foul was before that. Let's go over to Debbie. Debbie, where are you? I think she's over there on the bench. So Carolina will bring it in with 10:53 to play. And they have to go to the safety valve and throw it way down the other side.
Right, and Notre Dame has had to go to the big cover, putting August on Bryce Johnson.
Foul is on Vestorio. That's his third. I think Page, he was going to take that shot, then pulled it back at the last second. It became a pump fake. Vestorio was in the air and couldn't stop. Grant staying up with Barry. Now he gets picked off. Jackson for three. Hicks!
Second chance opportunities. Bryce Johnson with the play. Hicks has all of their points. He's got 8 points off the bench.
Too big, and there's too many of them.
There's the look, and good anticipation. The soft bounce. Notre Dame right there couldn't come up with it, and it cost them 2 points.
Foul is on Barry. That's his second. So Grant at the line and makes the first. He's got 15 points.
You see the Grant cheering section. Harvey and Horace.
Notre Dame beat Miami, beat Duke in this tournament, trying to grab UNC, but right now trailing as we go under 10 minutes. Page for three, tickles the twine again. That's pure.
Oh, he's been unbelievable. The other three's on the other side of the floor, so a different spot for him, but Mike Bray in timeout.
And with 9:42 to play, Mike Bray takes a 30-second timeout. The ACC and your local Toyota dealers unlocking the ACC archives, a video vault, all for free. North Carolina won their last ACC tournament. Charlotte, that was 7 years ago against Clemson. It's been a drought for the Tar Heels. Wayne Ellington scored 24. Tyler Hansbrough, a double-double. Tar Heels beat the Tigers 86-81. That's your ACC.com/vault, the video vault, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go to places.
And I remember that there were 3 epic games against Clemson that year for North Carolina. They won all 3, but never really led. They were tied or won in the last possession.
Let's go back to Debbie Antonelli. Debbie.
Well, in the last time out for Mike Bray, he was as animated as you see him standing up on the sidelines typically. He was in and out of his chair. He was challenging his guys on the defensive end. We have to get 3 stops. If we can get 3 consecutive stops, we can get right back in this thing.
Let's see if they can get some. They need 1 before they get 3.
Well, that's, now they've got to guard the perimeter. They're so concerned about the inside, but Barry and Page have been terrific from the outside.
Drop it down to Hicks, his jump hook, and he's fouled by Connaughton.
Only the first foul for him, so that's not an issue.
The foul is on number 24, and Connaughton is first, 15 foul.
Colson will get off the bench. Bonzi will wait to come in after the first free throw. Hicks at the line. He's a 64% free throw shooter. And he makes the first. Mike, you wonder why a guy like Isaiah Hicks, with all that talent, just averaging 6 points a game. He's got skills.
Yeah, not a lot of touches in the offense for him right now, but his time will come.
He's got 9 points here today, so above his average. Connaughton gets the rebound. Jackson takes it at the basket. No foul call, but it'll be Notre Dame basketball.
Still plenty of time left on the shot clock.
Yeah, there was no question. Jackson was trying to get at the line with that drive. Grant kicks it out. Jackson for 3. Yes.
Boys, Grant is he's a dynamic scorer, but he's such a playmaker too, and that's a rare combination.
He leads the team with 6 assists a game.
It's the lead.
Here's Vastoria.
Yeah,
3-point game.
What was Deb telling us about 3 stops? And
yep.
Right back in it.
Mike Bray off the bench comes in like he's playing. Runs halfway down the sideline. Mike's in his defensive stance. Ball's on the ground. 50-50 ball. Possession arrow blown to the Irish.
Well, here's the drive and the kick out. This is the big part. You see him just take a step back to clear that three-point line. And then the good anticipation by Vasturia, and it gets an easy layup.
Then the 50-50 ball, tied up, possession arrow, Notre Dame.
To this point, Tim, North Carolina's not been able to run away from Notre Dame. Some good timeouts by Mike Ray and some timely scoring.
Grant has it taken away, pushes it back. Grant, they work it around into the corner. Vasturia. How about that?
What? Three passes to an open three-point shooter. What a possession.
Page pushes it right back. Numbers aren't there for Jackson. Kicks it back to Connaughton. Yes, sir! It's an 11-0 run by Notre Dame.
Why, these are great follow threes in transition. Anytime you get the steal like that, it's like an offensive rebound. 1, 2, 3. That's great offense right there. And then this just knowing where your guy is, the trailer on the three on the fast break. They needed to get him restarted. And the referees did a nice job cleaning up. I mean, the Irish were so fired up, and they were all the way out at half court to meet their guys.
11-0 run, and Notre Dame has taken back the lead. Both teams playing well, Mike.
Yeah, you see the Irish 43 points from 3 points and the free throw line. Exactly how their offense is built.
Been a game of runs. We saw Carolina go on a big run. Took the lead. Now it's Notre Dame.
Big possession just to see the ball go through the hoop.
Another turnover.
We talked about how that shooting percentage was down. Well, that's turned dramatically. The Irish have hit their last 8 shots.
Grant wanted a clear out. He thought he could take toe-to-toe. They all went to the right side of the court. He's going to do it again. He wants Connaughton over there. He wants this side all to himself. Now he gives it back to Colson, and Colson walks. They got what they wanted, but they turned it over. Notre Dame and North Carolina battling for a championship. Under 7 minutes to go. We'll be back after a word from the ACC stations. 45-41, North Carolina has taken the lead. Haviland gave fans the chance to vote for the All-ACC first and second teams. Take a look at who you, the fans, chose. And Mike, being a legend in this league, how'd they do?
Well, South Bend really got active in the voting. Connaughton and Grant, of course, Okafor, a good choice. So Duke fans were active as well.
This is Page from beyond the arc. Bottoms.
He's hit the last 2 threes he's attempted.
Largest lead of the night for North Carolina.
If they start hitting threes combined with their interior presence, it's going to be awfully difficult for Notre Dame to catch up.
August banks it in, and he's fouled by James. Joel James picks up his first personal.
Of the centers, he's going to have real trouble staying in this game. You got to be connected with that double team. And August, beautiful feed inside, and Joel James was caught in between.
August now 4 for 5 from the line. Brings the lead back to 4. Page drives all the way to the basket, and he's fouled.
Possibility for three-point plays for Marcus Page. They like to run this screen where you come up in the middle, and he just got lost. He gets to that left hand. He is very efficient.
Vastoria picks up his second personal. Page tries to make a three-point play the old-fashioned way and does.
See, I mean, if you're Vastoria, why even wave at that? If you're not going to take a hard foul and put him on the line, just let him go. Don't make it a three-point opportunity.
Connaughton has disappeared. Here's August with a jump hook. And the putback by Jackson somehow off the top of the backboard.
Wow, normally you don't like your point guard on the offensive glass, but the fortunate bounce.
Irish sag back into the zone.
Barry, a very capable three-point shooter, and Page has been on fire in this half.
Here's Barry. Tokido out-jumped everybody.
Well, he can just go up another floor on the elevator from everybody else.
Barry for two. You like to talk about the danger zone? I think Notre Dame is in it.
Yeah, 7 points, the crowd riled up. And North Carolina's got two guards out there who can make shots.
Jaron Grant's basket will not count. He was fouled before the shot. Our edge to the game is brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. Points in the paint, big.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise there at all. 16 of 21 in the paint field goal. Notre Dame only 7 of 14, but they're more of a perimeter-oriented team.
Foul was on Tokido, Mike, so the Irish will bring it in.
For right now, the Irish are not getting crushed on the boards, which is a big statistic for them. But North Carolina shooting at such a high percentage, they haven't had to get many offensive rebounds. They only shot 37% in Chapel Hill.
Connaughton and Vastoria on the bench for Notre Dame. Pass inside. Colson buries it.
Now, does he step up again? He has been quiet in this game. This is his first basket of the ball game.
53-48.
But neither August or Coliseum have a foul in this game, so we might see that combination out there a lot to help offset the rebounding.
Carolina 8 for 11 this half. Make it 9 for 12. Barry again.
He was 3 of 6 from 3 for the tournament and improves on that.
Grant takes it down Main Street and he's fouled hard.
That's the 17th foul, so for the last 12 minutes, the Irish will be at the free throw line.
North Carolina trailed at the half, but they turned the page with Marcus. It's 56-48 Tar Heels. This is the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. Welcome back inside the 2015 New York Life ACC Tournament. Mike, let's take a look at our Haviland defensive shield because the Tar Heels have gotten very defensive and have an 8-point lead.
Well, you know, you look at it, we talk about North Carolina's offense all the time and getting on the glass, but look at the field goal percentage. Irish shooting it well in the first half, but only 3 of 9. And on the game, North Carolina has 12 more field goal attempts than does Notre Dame.
This is a 22-9 run by the Tar Heels, and Jaron Grant missed his first. Makes the second. Every point now becomes critical. We are under the 12-minute mark in the ACC championship game. UNC very active offensively. Barry penetrates, drops it off for Johnson.
I really like this combination of Barry and Page in the backcourt. Not only shooting on the perimeter, but able to make plays inside.
Connaughton is still on the bench. Vestoria is still on the bench. The Irish need points. And get it from Beecham.
Wow, big lift off. Those are the first bench points they've had. Now he's a capable shooter, 42% from three.
Reels him back into 6. That's going to be called a hold. Now, a lot of people are going to say, wait a minute, Johnson's arm extended. But the foul was before that. Let's go over to Debbie. Debbie, where are you? I think she's over there on the bench. So Carolina will bring it in with 10:53 to play. And they have to go to the safety valve and throw it way down the other side.
Right, and Notre Dame has had to go to the big cover, putting August on Bryce Johnson.
Foul is on Vestoria. That's his third. I think Page, he was going to take that shot, then pulled it back at the last second. It became a pump fake. Vestoria was in the air and couldn't stop. Boy, Grant staying up with Barry. Now he gets picked off. Jackson for 3. Hicks!
Second chance opportunities. Bryce Johnson with the play. Hicks has all of their points. He's got 8 points off the bench.
Too big, and there's too many of them.
Here's the look, and good anticipation. The soft bounce. Notre Dame right there couldn't come up with it, and it cost them 2 points.
Foul is on Barry. That's his second. So Grant at the line and makes the first. He's got 15 points.
You see the Grant cheering section. Harvey and Horace.
Notre Dame beat Miami, beat Duke in this tournament. Trying to grab UNC, but right now trailing as we go under 10 minutes. Page for 3. Tickles the twine again. That's pure.
Oh, he's been unbelievable. The other three's on the other side of the floor, so a different spot for him, but Mike Bray in timeout.
And with 9:42 to play, Mike Bray takes a 30-second timeout. The ACC and your local Toyota dealers unlocking the ACC archives, a video vault, all for free. North Carolina won their last ACC tournament. Charlotte, that was 7 years ago against Clemson. It's been a drought for the Tar Heels. Wayne Ellington scored 24. Tyler Hansbrough, a double-double. Tar Heels beat the Tigers 86-81. That's your ACC.com/vault, the video vault, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go to places.
And I remember that there were 3 epic games against Clemson that year for North Carolina. They won all 3, but never really led. They were tied or went and won in the last possession.
Let's go back to Debbie Antonelli. Debbie.
Well, in the last time out for Mike Bray, he was as animated as you see him standing up on the sidelines typically. He was in and out of his chair. He was challenging his guys on the defensive end. We have to get 3 stops. If we can get 3 consecutive stops, we can get right back in this thing.
Let's see if they can get some. They need 1 before they get 3.
Well, that's, now they've got to guard the perimeter. They're so concerned about the inside, but Barry and Page have been terrific from the outside.
Drop it down to Hicks, his jump hook, and he's fouled by Connaughton.
Only the first foul for him, so that's not an issue.
The foul is on number 24, and Collison is first, 15 foul.
Colson will get off the bench. Bonzi will wait to come in after the first free throw. Hicks at the line. He's a 64% free throw shooter. And he makes the first. Mike, you wonder why a guy like Isaiah Hicks, with all that talent, just averaging 6 points a game. He's got skills.
Yeah, and that was just, you know, not a lot of touches in the offense for him right now, but his time will come.
He's got 9 points here today, so above his average. Connaughton gets the rebound. Jackson takes it at the basket. No foul call, but it'll be Notre Dame basketball.
Still plenty of time left on the shot clock.
Yeah, there was no question. Jackson was trying to get at the line with that drive. Grant kicks it out. Jackson for three. Yes.
Boys, you know, Grant is such a he's a dynamic scorer, but he's such a playmaker too, and that's a rare combination.
He leads the team with 6 assists a game.
It's the lead.
Here's Vastoria.
Yeah,
3-point game.
What was Deb telling us about 3 stops? And
yep.
Right back in it.
Mike Bray off the bench comes in like he's playing. Runs halfway down the sideline. Mike's in his defensive stance. Ball's on the ground. 50-50 ball. Possession arrow will belong to the Irish.
Well, here's the drive and the kick out. This is the big part. You see him just take a step back to clear that 3-point line. And then the good anticipation by Vastoria, and it gets an easy layup.
Then the 50-50 ball, tied up, possession arrow, Notre Dame.
To this point, Tim, North Carolina's not been able to run away from Notre Dame. Some good timeouts by Mike Ray and some timely scoring.
Grant has it taken away, pushes it back. Grant, they work it around into the corner. Vastoria. How about that?
What? 3 passes to an open 3-point shooter. What a possession.
Page pushes it right back. Numbers aren't there for Jackson. Kicks it back to Connaughton. Yes, sir! It's an 11-0 run by Notre Dame.
Why, these are great follow threes in transition. And anytime you get the steal like that, it's like an offensive rebound. 1, 2, 3. That's great offense right there. And then this just knowing where your guy is, the trailer on the 3 on the fast break. They needed to get him restarted. And the referees did a nice job cleaning up. I mean, the Irish were so fired up, and they were all the way out at half court to meet their guys.
11-0 run, and Notre Dame has taken back the lead. Both teams playing well, Mike.
Yeah, you see the Irish 43 points from 3 points and the free throw line. Exactly how their offense is built.
It's been a game of runs. We saw Carolina go on a big run. Took the lead. Now it's Notre Dame.
Big possession just to see the ball go through the hoop.
Another turnover.
We talked about how that shooting percentage was down. Well, that's turned dramatically. The Irish have hit their last 8 shots.
Grant wanted a clear out. He thought he could take toe-to-toe. They all went to the right side of the court. He's going to do it again. He wants Connaughton over there. He wants this side all to himself. Now he gives it back to Colson, and Colson walks. They got what they wanted, but they turned it over. Notre Dame and North Carolina battling for a championship. Under 7 minutes to go. We'll be back after a word from the ACC stations.
And that's exactly what the Irish three-point shooters are doing right now. Jackson outside the arc. Pass up a good shot for a better one. Basturia in the corner. A steal and an easy deuce. And then off their hustle, Connaughton knocks down a three. Makes it an 11-0 run, Irish.
August with a steal on Meeks. It was set up by Connaughton. It's August in March.
Yeah, their defense has been outstanding. Turnovers out front, live ball turnovers to points and three-point shooting.
Came up big there. See if the Tar Heels answer. Connaughton comes away with it.
Jackson, a nice dig in that time on Bryce Johnson, gets the turnover.
Kick it out. Grant for three, halfway down. They call this on Meeks?
Yeah, foul on Meeks.
That's 4 on Meeks.
We'll talk about the big guy. How about Zach August getting out there? Length of the floor for the slam.
Wow. He motors pretty good for a guy 6'10", 250-some pounds.
Well, what a timeout that must have been by Mike Bray. I'm going to save that speech and use it for the NCAA tournament sometime. They just exploded after that.
Mike, you said at the beginning of the game, you thought Notre Dame needed 10 threes to win this game. They're at 9.
But, you know, give Marcus Page and Joel Berry credit. They came out, they've hit 4 in this half. So for them keeping pace.
It's a 15-0 run. Now the danger zone belongs to the Tar Heels. Page. Nice pass to Tokido. Boy, can he get up, and he gets up in a hurry.
Yeah, easy rise like that, and great find by Bryce Johnson.
Carolina fans coming to their feet. Jackson. 73-66.
Yeah, let's see where the fatigue meter is in the last 5 minutes of the 4th game in 4 days.
Marcus Page steps inside. Vesturia comes away with it.
You much prefer to now you've got to jam Marcus Page. You want to make him a 2-point shooter for the rest of this game.
Connaughton looked at it.
Well, Jackson's a good defender for him. He's got the length. He can cover out on that jump shot.
Grant with a step back.
Yeah, just not that he was not on balance on that shot. Kind of tripped as he was going into it.
Jackson feels like he can take Connaughton. He was calling for the ball. Instead, Berry goes right to the basket. And that'll belong to the Irish.
Haven't been many second chance opportunities for North Carolina in this stretch.
Well, that's why, Mike, you start thinking right now about their legs. You talked about it. Here they are. This is getting long into the tournament now. They've played 4 games in a row.
Yeah, and then Bryce Johnson looked really gassed walking over to the sideline right now, and Roy Williams trying to get him a break until the under 4-minute timeout.
Jared Grant kicks it back. Connaughton for 3. Bottoms. There's your 10th 3. And the largest lead of the game for Notre Dame.
Not only that, 10 of 20, though, 50% from 3. Ridiculous average.
See if UNC can climb back in. This is going to belong to Notre Dame. Looked like Isaiah Hicks hesitated and got to it too late.
Here's that extra kick out. So what Grant is so good at, Connaughton spotting up, 4 of 5 from 3, 6 of 8 overall. And now what they're doing, anytime where they were playing the post one-on-one early in this game, Notre Dame doubling now, digging in.
6 turnovers in the last 5 minutes for North Carolina as we go under 4 minutes. Grant. Great follow by August. That basket was still moving.
Well, this has been a different Notre Dame team since that timeout that Mike Bray called.
Here's a whistle away from the ball, down by the baseline. Timeout on the floor. 3.5 to play. 78-66. Notre Dame over North Carolina. The ACC mobile app is free and it's packed with video, stats, and more. Your chance to win Outback for a year is back. All you have to do is enter. Just click on the Win Outback for a Year banner in the app. Download it today on the acc.com/apps. Carolina brings it in, and Carolina's got to manufacture some points here in a hurry.
Yeah, this is a big possession right now. You've got to have good execution and a good result.
Page.
Notre Dame on a 24-3 run, Tim.
Jumped out on Page nicely, took the 3 away. Get it back to Tokito, back to Page. Defended well, Mike.
Yeah, and that was a tough shot, contested jump shot, and they cleaned up the boards nicely. The interior scoring has gone away.
Connaughton all alone.
Tokito got caught looking into the backfield, Tim. He lost track of where Connaughton was.
Back door was wide open.
17 foul for Notre Dame, so it'll be a 1-on-1 situation.
It's on Demetrius Jackson.
Yeah, he was sneaking up. Connaughton had been killing him from threes, but that's just too easy.
Roy Williams doesn't like it. Mike Bray does. So at the line, Joel Berry, the 6-foot freshman from Florida.
Early on in this half, he and Page, he gave them a nice lift off the bench.
He gets a friendly bounce there. He's a good free throw shooter, 72% for the year.
That's the thing with Notre Dame, they're such a good free throw shooting team. It's tough to play the foul game with them.
Right, good call. We've got 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in the championship.
With Grant as an extra ball handler there, very difficult to press.
Gets it across the timeline.
Run and jump.
They're going to melt some of the clock, shorten the game. And it causes a turnover. You don't want to get too cautious too early.
No, and it's just a risky area to throw that pass. And Jackson tapping him on the chest. He knows he made a mental error right there. We'll look for that run and jump from North Carolina for the next few possessions, if not the rest of the game.
Well, every possession now for the Tar Heels is magnified. The importance is huge. Oh, what a great move by Page. Page with the crossover, breaking ankles and scored 2. And timeout North Carolina.
Beautiful job of splitting the double team. You see that Bryce going out, and August got overextended that time. But still, you know what? I'll still say that you're Mike Bray. You take Marcus Page as a 2-point scorer as opposed to a 3-point scorer. This game by no means out of shape right now. 2 minutes, plenty of time to cut into a 10-point lead.
Absolutely.
But North Carolina's got to get some stops.
Especially with a Hall of Fame coach who's won 17 ACC championships. Here's our game summary presented by Valero.
Well, Bryce Johnson hasn't scored in a while. He's gone quiet. And Grant has been able to survive those 3 fouls and stay in the game.
Carolina fans taking it up a notch. Notre Dame gets it in bounds. Full court press by the Tar Heels. Grant picks up his dribble and has to call timeout.
You can't dribble over. You know that run and jump is coming. You can't dribble into it over in half court, especially over in the corner. You got to keep the ball in the middle of the floor and have outlets.
In the last 30 seconds, Mike, North Carolina has taken away some of the momentum, and they're cutting into the lead. And right now, Roy Williams is thinking the same thing you just said. We've still got 2 minutes to play, and it's only a 10-point game.
No question about it. I mean, this game's still very much in reach for this team, and Notre Dame has got to show some better poise in handling this pressure that Carolina's throwing at them.
Take it off the floor, spread the floor, and start passing it, I guess, huh? All right, we'll see what happens. The Irish bring it in. Grant takes it all the way back again. He's going to get some time off the clock.
I don't like that rule.
And he picks up the dribble again and loses it.
The foul on Grant.
And that's his 4th. And North Carolina's in the 1-and-1.
The same area of the floor, and once Grant the trouble there. There's the foul just out of frustration. That's his 4th. But picking your dribble up too, another Cardinal sin.
Absolutely. This game has changed. Here come the Tar Heels. Jump ball, possession arrow belongs to North Carolina. Now Mike Bray's not happy about that.
He's just trying to get his guys to refocus. Right now their body language not great. Even with that run that Notre Dame has, they're standing up straight a little bit.
I think they like that lead way too much.
They're getting a little too consumed with the referees at this point too.
Here's Page, always dangerous. August comes away with it, and he's fouled.
I thought a couple of questionable shots by Brett that time.
Yeah, I agree.
The drive and then the deep 3.
He's young. Nate Britt, the sophomore from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, went to Gonzaga High School. Oak Hill. Notre Dame 18 of 20 from the free throw line tonight.
Well, August had a big game against North Carolina earlier in the year. 18 points, yeah, 6 of 10, 6 of 6 shooting, had the game-winning basket.
And makes a key free throw there.
He's been solid from the free throw line, 7 of 8 now.
And he came in as a 62% free throw shooter.
There's the huge advantage at the line for Notre Dame.
He's got 14 points. Lead back to 12. Now time is definitely a factor. Page for 3. Timeout, North Carolina.
Timeout, North Carolina.
Marcus Page has been incredible in this second half. 22 points now. The bulk of the three-point shooting. 5 of 10 now from behind the arc. 10 of his 15 field goal attempts have been threes.
And with 70 seconds left, it's a 3-possession game.
If my screen is right, that was the last timeout by North Carolina. You see only one left for Notre Dame, and Notre Dame in the double bonus.
Go over to Debbie Antonelli. Debbie.
Before the game, when I was with Coach Williams, he said the thing he was mostly concerned about was the three-point shooting of Notre Dame versus his offensive rebounding, which was their strength. So it was strength against strength, and right now North Carolina with 15 second chance points, Notre Dame with 30 points from outside the arc.
Wow.
Well, the thing with North Carolina that you can survive with no timeouts when you've got a guard like Marcus Page out on the floor.
This is where Notre Dame has had its trouble, getting it across the timeline. Jaron Grant pushes this one. They jump him hard, and he passed it. And they fouled Jackson. That's what he wasn't doing before, Mike. You called for it. He raced it up across the timeline and got rid of it.
Well, here's Jackson at 75%, Grant at 75%, Connaughton at 78%, August 65, but shooting well tonight. So you really don't have a lot of options to who to put on the line.
Certainly those numbers may be skewed a little bit when you only have 64 seconds left in a championship game. Pressure then becomes a factor. But Jackson just as smooth as always.
But the good thing, you don't have to worry about the 1-and-1. You're already in the double bonus, so you know you're getting 2 from here on out.
Good point. Jackson has 10 points. Makes them both. Leads back to 11. Page banks in that left hand. And it's 84-75, but 58.7 seconds left. Notre Dame playing hot potato, trying to get rid of it before the fouls. Final 45 seconds.
Yeah, they got 12 seconds off the clock that time.
And back to the line. And how about Mike Bray's seniors tonight?
Well, when I tell you, when Deb talked to him before the game, she asked him specifically about these guys, and he knew that he had a lot of confidence in this year with these guys coming back.
Mike, I was out in South Bend on Saturday in their final game, senior day, and they honored those two, and I mean, it was incredible. It was very emotional.
And what a and Tim misses 2.
Especially after the passing of Father Hesburgh. It was an emotional day anyway, and then they honored those two. What a day in South Bend. Page again for 3, and it's 84-78.
Grant really upset with himself. But his confidence has to be a little shaky right now.
It's a 6-point lead, 2-possession game. I mean, this is not easy.
Either his confidence is shaky or he's so upset with himself he's going to step up and knock these down.
Makes the first. All 5 Notre Dame starters are in double figures. John Madry keeping all the numbers here courtside, working along with Freddie Kiger. Makes them both. Wouldn't be a championship without those two. Page, stop and go into the corner. Time ticking away. Johnson slams it down. 86-80. 26.1 left. And they foul Grant again. So Nate Britt fouls him immediately.
That's his second.
The question, Notre Dame has had an unbelievable year, and this will set a record for victories in a year.
Absolutely.
But the question, we knew that they could score well enough to make a deep run into the tournament. The question is, can they defend and rebound?
Mike Bray was telling us how he's so confident with this team, and that the team's confidence makes him feel better before every game, regardless of who the opponent is.
Well, what a lift getting Mr. Grant back this year after his academic issues last year.
And again, it's Jackson. 13.5 seconds. They're going to run out of time. And they foul Grant with 12.6. Notre Dame is going to get its 29th win of the year. And the number 3 seed, ranked number 11 in the country, is going to move on, and as you say, will improve their seed in the big tournament.
How about this? The first championship they've ever had in any conference ever in 108 years.
In basketball, absolutely. It's huge. Now, he did make a good point, Mike Bray, when he told us they were independent for a long time.
Yep. But still, 18 years in the Big East, and they never got to the tournament final there.
Grant pushes the lead back. And the final 10 seconds. Carolina still battling.
Get down, Pat.
Jackson again. That'll do it. Notre Dame is the ACC champion for 2015, and Tobacco Road now spreads to the Midwest. Notre Dame has played in the NCAA tournament 31 times, which is 9th all time. They went to the Final Four in 1978, but this is their first ever conference champion. And it came in 2015. Mike Bray and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame beat North Carolina 90-82. After UNC took a 9-point lead, Notre Dame went on a 26-3 run to lead by 14 and hold on to win it by 8. What a scene in Greensboro. St. Patrick's Day has never felt better for the Fighting Irish. And Roy Williams is the runner-up once again. Tobacco Road has been extended to South Bend, Indiana. We'll be back.
Every starter in double figures. Notre Dame, ACC tournament champions, beating North Carolina 90-82. And there are some happy seniors who are with Debbie Antonelli.
Pat, you guys, Jaron, you guys stuck through it this year. You had some adversity, but you stuck together. What was the difference at the end here?
The difference was, we weren't prepared to lose. I think, Jaron and myself, we came into this season saying we came back for one reason. That was for the postseason. We got the guys ready for the regular season. We said we're going to do some things Notre Dame basketball hasn't done. And with the help of Jaron, we were able to do that.
Jaron, you guys have tremendous balance when you're playing like this. How hard are you to defend?
Extremely hard. We have the most unselfish team in America. We love each other. So it's easy to pass the ball. It's easy to be unselfish because nobody cares who gets the glory.
Mike Bray has never had a chance to win a championship at Notre Dame. What does it feel like to give him his first?
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's at a loss for words, to say the least. I think, for all that he's done for us, for all the things that he's stuck with us through, to give this to him and to give this to our program, is something that we came here to do, but it was something that feels even better when you actually do it.
Coach Bray told me before the game to win today would be pulling off the ACC double-double, beating Duke and beating North Carolina. You guys have done that twice this season. What does it mean to win this game in that kind of manner?
It's special. It means we have a special team. From the coaches all the way through the players, we have a special team.
All right, thanks, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Debbie. And you look at the stat sheet and those two seniors, Grant 24, Connaughton 20, they came up big.
They did come up huge, Mike, but when you look at it, Pat Connaughton said it best. They came back. Connaughton was a Major League Baseball draft pick, as well as Grant could have been in the NBA right now. They came back to school for this moment, and you have to be happy to see them be able to accomplish it.
And it has to be a happy Mike Bray as well. He's with Mike Jaminski.
Coach Mike Bray, 108 years, first tournament championship for basketball. Incredible. What does it feel like?
You know what? It's just a huge win for our program, and I'm so proud of this group, and I'm really happy for our two seniors. They have played like men down here, and they've driven the train the whole year. It's been just a fun group to be around. I'm glad I get to coach them some more.
Well, you had a good recipe for success coming into this game, 3-point shooting and limiting them on the glass, and both things came up big for you.
You know, we eventually, in that one timeout at about 8 minutes, we started defending and rebounding the ball, and then we got into one of our offensive rhythms that I don't know if anybody else in the country can put numbers up like that, and we got really cocky. So I just didn't want to overcome rolling.
That must have been a heck of a timeout because you were 9-point deficit, I think, and you went on a 24-3 run after that.
I was 24-3. Well, we guarded and we rebounded, which we were having trouble the whole night. And then we were starting to break them down and kick, and we stepped up and made big shots. Just great for our program, man. I'm thrilled, and I'm thrilled for this team. They've done everything we've asked from June on.
How big now, looking back, was that double bye, and how much do you think that played into this?
Well, and you know what? I was comfortable with the tournament bracket being like the old Big East bracket, playing at night. That's what I was accustomed to. So getting the double bye, playing at night, there was some familiarity, and I think it helped us feel more comfortable.
Finally, a thought on this team winning this championship going into the NCAAs.
You know, I think the sky's the limit for us. As you can see, we can dream the ultimate dream. They're as good as anybody. We can play with anybody. And after doing this here, Mike, we'll be more confident in the next tournament.
Congratulations. Go celebrate with your team.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks a lot, G-Man. Celebrating, living a dream. They dreamed it, it happened. We'll be back with more celebration. But first, this word from your local ACC station. Notre Dame celebrating a championship here in this New York Life ACC tournament with a win 90-82. Demetrius Jackson, one of 5 players in double figures for the Irish. He's with Debbie.
Demetrius, 5 players in double figures. How important is that offensively?
It's huge. Coach drew it up great for us. We share the ball so great. It's a fun way to play when we share the ball like that.
Coach said you had to make more threes than they got offensive rebounds. How'd it work out?
Guys stepped up and made the threes they had to. We didn't get out to a great start and we didn't play the best, but we got it done, and I'm really proud of our group.
This was like a road game for you guys. You're 8-2 on the road in ACC play. What did it feel like to win this game here in Greensboro?
It's huge, and you see all the Notre Dame fans here, but it was covered in North Carolina blue. And so just to win it here, to go through some great teams, just build momentum for the NCAA tournament.
Thanks, Demetrius.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, they've got their plaques, and the Nets here at the Greensboro Coliseum are getting ready to come down. And there's a happy coach about to get the trophy from the commissioner, John Swafford. Boy, that's going to have a prominent place in South Bend. First time Notre Dame has ever won a conference championship. And he talked about those seniors with Mike Jaminski a moment ago. He hugged them when this game was over. We'll have some final thoughts from here in Greensboro in just a moment.
Connaughton for 3. Bang! Notre Dame leads. Connaughton, and now August steals it. Zach August goes in alone and jams it with 2 hands. To Grant in the lane. Back to Connaughton for 3. Got it! And that will do it. Got it, Irish fans. Notre Dame has found the pot at the end of the 8th.
As the voice of Jack Nolan, voice of the Irish, let's get some final thoughts from our crew. First, Debbie Antonelli.
My memory is going to be of Batman, Pat Connaughton, and Superman, Jaron Grant. The way they played together and the brotherhood they brought to this team and the unity they provided that allowed Notre Dame to win their first ever championship. Mike and Tim?
Yeah, I'm going to remember the 26-3 run. I mean, that was special. And how about this? The Notre Dame women won the women's championship in the ACC on Sunday. The men come in here on Saturday night and they win it. It's a clean sweep for the Fighting Irish.
And I'm going to remember Mike Bray's first championship as a coach at Notre Dame. Whatever was said in that timeout may rival the New Rockney speech where he said, wouldn't want for the Gipper. That could be the speech on the basketball side.
Unbelievable. Let's go back up to the fellas, Mike and Corey.
All right, thank you, Tim and Corey. Some thoughts from you about this great event.
Well, Mike, and I told you, it's like homecoming for former ACC players. So for Rob Balanis and Anthony Solomon, both assistant coaches for Notre Dame that played at Georgia Tech and the University of Virginia, and of course Mike Bray, who cut his teeth as assistant coach at Duke. It's a great homecoming for those 3 guys.
You know, Corey, I've been covering these tournaments as a reporter since 1977. The feeling is never changes for the winner. But I want to talk about the energy in this Greensboro Coliseum, the place that had hosted it more than anybody else. Tournament's going to rotate around for the next couple of years, but tonight was one of those special nights in Greensboro, North Carolina. I know you agree with me.
Absolutely, Mike. And, of course, this is the home of the ACC, and I know we'll be off in different places, but there's no better place, and this is the home of the ACC tournament.
So, once again, we would like to congratulate the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, the New York Life ACC tournament champions. I would like to also thank our entire crew who has worked so hard here all week long. I'm Mike Hogwood. You've been watching coverage of Atlantic Coast Conference basketball on the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. Good night from Tournament Town, Greensboro, North Carolina.